trout on the river and fishing. And yes, it's extremely important that we work with Arkansas Game and Fish to maintain that healthy trout population. But the wording is problematic because they see that and they say, well, wait a minute, my business is in the floodplain. It's on the river. So if we're going to try to control that, rice farming, very problematic from an agricultural point of view. And that's a huge economic engine, as well as this whole area. Tourism is a huge economic engine for this area. So I have some issues on how that will be defined, how encroachment will be defined, how it will be controlled. None of these things are really set forward, but they're specifically written. So that's problematic for me. Also, on the hydrology, you talk about setting back the levees to restore the historic floodplain habitat. That is a 3 to 7 year midterm goal for hydrology. And you reference, and of course I live in Norfolk as part of my district, so the dam is, and I think Senator Key has been very involved with this, but you talk about a new levee system, and who's going to pay for that, and what do you mean by restoring historic floodplain habitat? And how far back in history are we going? It's just a serious question because it's not written here. So I'm not quite sure what that means. And I'm asking the question because I think a lot of us don't know what this means. And that's problematic because, again, we're the state of Arkansas. And I just want to know what happens to the people that find themselves within those levees, or is there been a study by the Corps of Engineers as to how much that might cost, the infrastructure, the investments, or people that will be displaced? There's a lot that you can infer from that one